Hi guys, it's Kelly Latavola here, and I am back with another video. This video is a little different. This actually features some Color Me papers by Photoplay Paper. So they had reached out to me and asked me if they could send me them so that I could try them. And just if you watched my previous videos, that I'm a super big fan of anything that's kind of like pre-done so that I don't have to think about a layout. I can just come in and color it. And these are super great for that. So they are just black and white images, and they're printed on 110-pound ultra smooth cardstock. And each theme, so there's a ton of them, you can see them here, has a card version. So like today I used autumn cards and then the autumn layered. So there's one that's the autumn card, and then the autumn layered has other kind of like blocked out pattern papers, and each one of them is double-sided. So they have the other matchy pattern paper on the back side of it. So the wonderful thing about these is you can actually buy them individually, and their price point is unbelievable. You can get them for just over $1 for over at scrapbook.com. So I'll have those linked below on YouTube if you're interested. I took these with me when I traveled, and it was super easy. I got to just sit down and color some things and not have to worry about how I was going to put the card together, and I could just sit and color because that's my jam. So I'm a little late. I'm a little late on getting this particular video up because it is kind of fall themed. I know Christmas is everywhere right now, but I still wanted to share it because techniques are totally still valid. The way that the card was created, absolutely still something that you can do. Doesn't necessarily matter that this particular one is fall themed. So with that said, you can see we're jumping right into the coloring here because I didn't have to do anything else. Isn't that nice? I didn't have to do anything else. And actually the concept for the card didn't come until later, after I had all of the coloring done. For the pumpkins, there's pumpkins in the back of this little pickup truck, which is super cute idea. This card, now you can see I cut it all out like bajiggity, but I knew I wasn't going to use the full card. I knew I was just going to use the truck portion of it. So I picked out some oranges and even into the reds. It depends on what kind of, I guess, like hues you're going for. I usually start, like if I'm coloring a pumpkin, my lightest color is usually in the yellow family, and then I have a mid-tone, I always do 4, you know that. So my 2 mid-tones are typically in the YR family, and then depending upon the look that I want, my last color will either be an E, usually an E09, which is more on the brown side, or it will be an R29. So for this one, I actually think I went with the E09. But the way that all of these pumpkins are layered in here together, I'm not trying to do a light source. That's way too complicated at this juncture. I'm just trying to get some shading where they're all kind of tucked behind each other. So we've talked about how when you're coloring things, if something is sitting on top of another object, there's going to be a shadow. So that was the only thing that I was paying attention to when I was coloring these pumpkins. I was not trying to be like, oh, my light source is coming from the top right hand. Ain't nobody got time for that. I was just having fun coloring the images. Also, I have a lot of people who ask me about like Copic sets and things like that. I am not a proponent of sets, guys. I just don't feel like that's the greatest bargain. I understand if you're making Copics are a large investment. Don't get me wrong. I made the same investment that you have or will be making. But the sets are not created, the large sets, I mean, like the 72, are not created to give you colors that will blend well together. They're created to give you a rainbow of colors, which is awesome. But the reason we buy Copics and not just buy, Sharpies or Crayolas is because of their blending properties. So I'm a large proponent of sitting down, looking at what other people are using and finding color combinations that you like. Pinterest has a ton, just a ton of stuff. Marker Geek, Elaine Hughes has so many combinations out there on Pinterest. Go check those out. For the greenery and the pumpkins, I'm just doing 2 colors. There was no need to really do anything more than that. I don't have a whole lot of real estate. Using the browns for kind of the wooden sideboards, and then also I colored some of the stems one color and some of them another color. I was originally going to shade them, but then I realized how small they were and just how silly that was, honestly. So I'm just going to do a little bit of wood grain on the sideboards here. I like the detail. You guys know that. I can't stop myself. There'd be nothing wrong with just coloring them brown and walking away, but I just cannot do that. Anyway, back to the Copic marker selection situation. A lot of people also ask me if I have a page that lists my favorite Copic combinations. Up until this point, I have not. But that is something that I am looking at doing. I know that it's nice to be able to do that. I bought my set of markers off of Jennifer McGuire's list. So I know that it's nice to have a list to go look at when you're trying to fill in the gaps. But if you aren't looking at somebody else's list, if you're just trying to figure out where you need to fill in your gaps, I would encourage you to try mixing colors that you already own. Just try it. It's not, I mean, if you just sit down with a scrap piece of paper and try a bunch of different color combinations, because like if you look at the one that we're using right now, so you have a Y38, a YR04, a YR09, and an E09. There is 0% chance you would go out into the shopping world and be able to find that color combination together. However, it works. It works. And I know somebody had made a comment on one of my other videos a couple of weeks ago that she needed more yellows because she couldn't make gold. And so she had listed, which was very helpful, she listed the yellows that she had already purchased. And I was like, you don't need any more yellows. You don't need any more yellows to make gold. You need a YR24 and an E99. That's what you need. And even though my typical for gold is Y02, Y08, YR24, and the E99, I tried it. I sat down with the colors that she already owned and tried it to see if I could make it work to make gold. And guess what? I totally could. So I know she can. And then that's less money she has to spend. I suffer from full set syndrome. I do. Everybody has their faults. But in Copics, I don't own all of them. And that's my go-to medium, guys. And even I don't own all of them. You don't need them all. You don't need them. So anywho, back to the coloring here. I really wanted to play on the complementary colors. Orange's complementary color is blue, which also happens to be my boyfriend. You know that. I love blue. So I was totally fine just coloring this truck in blue. When you're looking at other people's illustrations, sometimes it's difficult to see what's what. And so when I was looking at this illustration for the truck, it took me a second to kind of figure out what was the sideboard of it, what was up by the window. Definitely took me a second to figure out which area was actually window and which area was truck, which is fine. That's no big deal. Just if you have struggles with that, usually if you just Google the images, somebody else has colored it, or the amazing design teams that most of these companies have working for them, somebody has done an example, and you'll be able to find it there and see how the intent, what the intent was for how it should be colored. But nonetheless, let's talk about these highlights and shadows. So I decided to put the highlight on the right-hand side of the bed, and then also on the tops of the fenders that sit over the wheels with this blue combination. It was super easy. I just kind of drew the shape along the tops of the fenders so that I would know to leave that area lighter, and then just kind of filled in around that. So I super love these. I do. I think they're super cute. I will tell you for this background, which we'll get to after we do the truck, like the actual truck coloring, the background was pretty easy to create some texture on, which I really like. But I will tell you that if you're looking for a smooth coverage, you're going to need to go over it a few times. Copics blend in the fibers of the paper, and because this is 110 pound cardstock, it means that it's totally sturdy, which is awesome for, card making. But it does mean that in order to get your colors to blend really well, you're going to have to saturate the paper. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I was really kind of blown away at how, I hate using the word cheap because I think people associate cheap with like less than, but not me, because I'm a cheap chicken. I totally associate them with a good deal. So the value that you get for the money that they are is really actually very, very good. I would even, if I was, purchasing more of these in the future, because they're only, I think they're like $1.10 or something like that if you don't get them on sale. I would probably actually buy them twice just so I could have that pattern paper on the back, as well as the cards on the front. And then with the layered ones, I love how they're all matchy-matchy. Ooh, I love matchy-matchy. That just makes me so happy. But yeah, so definitely would recommend. So what has been going on in my life lately that I could share with you guys? I don't know. I don't really know. I have been, card making wise, I've just kind of been in a little bit of influx. That like my life just kind of got in the way, and I had a few weeks where I wasn't really making videos, which is okay. I know I miss you guys too, and I appreciate you guys checking in on me, but sometimes life does just get in the way, and trying to figure out, going forward, what it is that I want, for myself and to the things that I'm going to spend my time on. With that said, you'll notice that upcoming, I have been blessed enough to be included in some more affiliates, which Debbie Hughes just did this amazing blog post explaining affiliate links and how that all works and how you can use those to support artists that you really love their content, because we're all out here doing it for free. And I had seen in one of the Stamp Junkie posts, that Facebook group, where somebody had said, yes, but they're getting paid by YouTube. And for those of us who monetize our videos, we are getting paid by YouTube. You have to have, this is, sometimes it just makes me giggle, the misconceptions that are out there. You're correct. I am getting paid by YouTube. If I do one video a month, one video a week. So that's 4 videos in a month. From the money that I make off YouTube, I literally make $8 a video, guys. $8. Like, that's it. That's what YouTube's paying me. So for people who are out there who are thinking that, YouTube artists are paying their bills with that. Guys, you know me. I got 3 jobs. This is just like the third one I do because I really, really like. But I got 2 other ones that I do because I have to pay my bills just like you guys do. So that money supports me being able to put money back into, the supplies, the perishables, the things that I use, glue, paper, stamps, all of those things that I'm purchasing to make the videos. And affiliate links, basically just, it's a small percentage, depends upon what the affiliate is. It could be 6%, it could be 8%, it could be 10%. I haven't really seen too many that are more than 10%, but it doesn't cost you any extra. That's basically just a compensation that stores are willing to give us for linking to them. Now, we've had this conversation in the past about, honesty and honest reviews, and I don't link to companies that I don't personally purchase from. That's me. And for most of the people that I know and I'm friends with in the community, that's true for them as well. We're not out here trying to, sell you oceanfront property in Arizona kind of thing. Anyway, quick note on the card. So I previously colored the one that I wanted to use because I told you I traveled with them and I was just having such a good time coloring that I wasn't really thinking about putting the cards together. But I did want to show you how I colored the banners. So I'm just going to color a separate one, even so you can see what that's going to look like with the warm grays. And then I am going to use the other one for the actual card. Just FYI, in case you're wondering why I'm coloring this one and not looking at the other ones. So anyway, back to the affiliate things. So, I mean, that's just something that, you know, we're offered. And then also it makes it, like, I love being, when I see somebody who's doing something that I love, okay, and I want to be able to go purchase that stamp set or, you know, those watercolors or those markers or what have you. I love that they're linking their product, okay? Because before you used to be on the hunt for, because back in the day before there was affiliates, hey, I was crafting then too, you just had to hunt everything down yourself, which was kind of nightmarish, honestly. And so I love being able to link the products so that you guys can see them, but it is time consuming. It's very, very time consuming. All of this is, but honestly, we don't do it for the money. You know, you do it because you love it. That's why I do it. And I love being able to interact with you guys and seeing you guys tag me on Instagram and, you know, sharing what you've created. I love all of that. You know, so it's just, I guess it's an added bonus that makes it a little bit cheaper for us to be able to keep doing what we're doing. So I told you I wasn't going to use this whole card. I'm going to trim out this truck and I'm basically going to set the blessings aside to just use for something else. But I wanted to use the truck just by itself. So I'm just going to fussy cut it out. You guys know I don't shy away from fussy cutting. I make, you know, 1-layer cards like that is my full-time job, even though it's not. And so just another, we've been over this before for the fussy cutting, but in case you're new here, because I don't know, maybe you are. We're getting new people all the time. It's amazing. I'm super, super blessed. Thank God. But so I hold my scissors in my right hand because I'm right hand dominant. And then I move my paper with my left hand. Here I wanted to give myself a little bit of ground. So I just used a C1 to kind of trace around it. I honestly had no intention of making this a scene card. But when I put the truck on there, that's just kind of what I saw in my head. I saw kind of like this muddy dirt road, and I wanted to recreate it. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here. I'm flying by the seat of my pants, trying to figure out how I'm going to make this work. That's why you keep seeing me putting the truck back down to check it. And so I've started with a little bit of a lighter brown. These are the same browns that I used to do that sideboard. And then the weight of the vehicles that are driving on the road will make the divots deeper, closer in the center. So that's why I'm making those darker there. And then I'm going to blend them back out with the lighter colors. So I kind of saw it as like this muddy, like stone or gravel road out in the middle of, you know, farm country. And that is pretty much just what I'm trying to create here. I'm going to fill in the middle section, and you can see, this is Nina 80 pound, but you can see that I am just very lightly filling those in so that it kind of starts to make sense. For the stuff in the middle, I am just really going to make very loose shapes, very loose stone shapes, but because of the perspective, the ones that are closer to me will be bigger and the ones that are further away will be smaller. So you can see I'm trying to just make sure that I have a good area covered, like that, you know, is going to run underneath the truck. And then for the ones that are further away, I'm really just kind of tapping the side of my marker because they're further away, they would be smaller. So bigger, closer, smaller, further. That's basically the perspective rule on that. I'm also going to do a couple of different colors just because, you know, stones aren't all the same color, and there should be some variation there. So I'm just going to tap in a couple of different browns, nothing too crazy. you know, just so it has, you know, I guess more of a feel. And then I will kind of go back over it with the lighter color just so that they blend a little bit more into the road. I don't want them, you know, just like sticking up, you know, standing out, I guess, is the best way to put it, because they're supposed to be in the middle of the road. Also, I'm going to do the grass. And these papers, I added some darker to the road there because, again, that would be more visible the closer you were to it. So for the grass, I'm pretty much going to do the same thing that I always do. You guys have probably seen this a million times on my channel, but I just using the tip of my marker, and I'm just creating flicking marks. That's it. Those are going to be my little grasses, and it's going to be, again, much easier to see all of the texture of the grass up close, and it will be harder to see further away. That's why I colored that top portion in with my lightest color, because that's going to be much further away. You're not going to see all the little details, you know, the little blades of grass kind of thing. And I'm going to fade out the colors into that area. You want to vary your lengths when you're doing grass. You know, it's not all going to be the same size, especially in a scenario like this. I'm sure nobody just freshly cut this farm grass on this old backwoods road. But I don't like you know how you can see the white there? You can see the white through it. I'm not a huge fan of that either. So I'm just going to keep filling these in, you know, some darker colors up toward the front. Those will be a little bit bolder for, you know, to be able to see. And I'm also adding grass over those stones, you know, kind of like the road wasn't really, you know, I guess created, recently. It's got some, you know, grass growing up in between it. I'm not really adding too many grasses to the area that looks like it's further away, mostly just the road area that's closer to us. And then I used all 4 of the colors so that there would be a lot of variation and interest, since, I mean, pretty much if you think about what it looks like, it's like a couple of brown lines and some flicks of green. Know what I'm saying? It's not anything we took a ton of time on. So I went back in with a YG01 and just kind of filled everything in there that will help blend the grass a bit more as well. So once again, it's not like completely totally in your face. So once I had the background scene done, I added a few white highlights to those little stones, and I decided that I was going to just glue the truck down flat. Before I do that, I'm using a Memento Tuxedo Black marker. You want to make sure you're using a water-based marker, not an alcohol-based marker, to do the edges, and this is just going to give it a more finished look. The reason that I decided to glue the truck down flat is because it's already another layer of paper on top of the base layer, so I felt like it was going to stand out enough. Here I'm trying to get my, you know, wheels where they're supposed to be. And then I'm going to pop up the sentiment with Scotch foam tape. So that's why I didn't pop up the truck, because I didn't want them both to be popped up. But so, I mean, these are super simple. You can create, you know, color them on the go and then make your cards later, which I really loved. I did make a couple of different cards because, you know, I didn't have to sit in front of a camera the whole time. Not that I'm complaining, because I do love making videos, but you know what I'm saying? It's just so nice to be able to just sit and color and not have to worry about, you know, the camera being on. So that's this card. A couple of the other ones I created, most of them are very clean and simple. This one is like a little jelly jar, and then I trimmed out a flower and put that on there with some twine. The little apples and the sign were 2 separate ones. I combined those. And this one, I actually used one of the papers that is included, colored that up, and then colored more of the flowers to go on top of it. So here's another look at that last card. And then that's pretty much the whole video. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.